Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, April 4th, and I am Tyler Johnson at T_Johnson_TJ. You can follow me on Twitter here with your Network 216 exclusive, talking Cleveland Browns and draft wide receivers. Before we get into today's video, if you guys would please just take a second, drop a like on this video. Again, what you're doing is you help our YouTube algorithm grow and help Network 216 grow as well. But also subscribe to the channel if you're brand new to Network 216, where we provide you with not only daily Cleveland Browns content, but daily Cleveland sports content. So we're going to get into today's video. We're going to talk draft wide receivers the Browns should look to explore now. My colleague Jacob Broach from the Barking Brown Show already had a video on this. This is part two with some wide receivers that I believe the Browns should target or look towards. I'm going to have one caveat in this video too. I'm going to take age out of it somewhat because the Browns are picking later. I think they're going to try and stick to the guardrails, but it's going to be a little more flexible. So the first guy I'm going to start with is Tennessee wide receiver Cedric Tillman. Now, a lot of people are familiar with the Tennessee Volunteers this past season. Hendon Hooker lit it up, got injured. Very unfortunate there because he was having a great year and in contention for the Heisman Trophy. But everyone wants to talk about Jalen Hyatt because he won the Blinker Off Award for the best wide receiver in college football. Everyone is ignoring Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman is going to be 23 years old, but he's 6'3", 213 pounds, and runs a 5'4". He is that bigger body type of wide receiver. So the Browns are going to have some tough decisions coming up here. Not only next year, but even in the future on what they do with Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Now, if you get a guy like Cedric Tillman, that could address one of those as far as grooming a potential replacement for one of them. Big body receiver, like I said, 6'3", 213 pounds, 70.3 overall grade according to Pro Football Focus, 69.1 receiving grade, 42.9 contested catch rate, 65.2 against man coverage. Only a 5.1 drop percentage rate, which was very solid this year. Only 2 total drops. Again, I'm intrigued by him. I feel like people are really sleeping on him in this draft class. Just because he's not Jalen Hyatt, he doesn't have the huge numbers that Jalen Hyatt has. 417 yards, 37 receptions, 3 touchdowns. And he only played 6 games this year. So just keep that in mind. People are sleeping on Cedric Tillman, and do that at your own risk because I think that would really benefit the Browns, him being able to be there possibly. And I want to keep in mind that I'm not only looking at day 2 guys they could be interested in, but possibly day 3. I do believe the Browns are drafting a wide receiver this year. I do. We can talk about who they've added. We can talk about how many receivers they have. Andrew Berry's building for the future here. And if you can bring in a guy that's going to help your team, maybe even a little bit now, but also in the future, that's what he's going to be looking to do. The next wide receiver I want to talk about here is a guy that I have talked about on my Twitter account. So if you haven't followed me, you can do that at T_Johnson_TJ. The link will be in the description as well for my Twitter account. Parker Washington, the wide receiver coming out of Penn State. Now, another guy that the production doesn't stand out to you a lot this past year. 21 years old, though, 5'10", 204 pounds. Parker Washington had 611 receiving yards, 46 receptions, played the majority of his snaps in the slot, only 2 touchdowns, 76.7 receiving grade, 73.8 against man coverage. Elite grade right there. This is the one that really stands out to me, and it's just very impressive to think about. At 5'10", his contested catch rate is dead on elite at a 71.4%, which is absolutely phenomenal. Ignore the stats because Penn State, again, did not have good quarterback play. They really have not had good quarterback play in the last couple of years. I mean, Sean Clifford's solid, but it's not C.J. Stroud. It's not any of the top quarterbacks in college football. Parker Washington's a guy that absolutely should be on the Browns' radar, and I think he would be a selection they would look at, especially due to his age. They do try and stick to the age guardrails. I think those are going to be bent in this draft class because of the fact they've limited draft capital. So just keep that in mind. Parker Washington, though, 21 years old. And my third guy on this list that I want to discuss, Ole Miss wide receiver Jonathan Mingo. Now, this is a name that no one is really talking about. PFF has him extremely low as the 177th best player on their board. Going to be 22 years old, 6'2", 220 pounds, 4.4 speed, 76.9 overall grade, 154 snaps in the slot, 246 out wide, 861 receiving yards this past year, 51 receptions, 5 touchdowns, 16.9 yards per reception, a 78.6 overall receiving grade, grade versus man coverage 76.6. Drop rate not great, 7.3%, but still average. Contested catch rate not exactly what you want either, 41.2%, just a little below average. But again, he's got talent, and you just have to watch the tape of him to see what this guy can do. If you're looking for a DPJ replacement, and I'm not for replacing these guys in the wide receiver room, but it's a discussion that has to be made because Amari Cooper's contract is going to be up after this year. Do the Browns want to pay him $20 million at age 30? Are they going to want to do that? I'm skeptical, regardless of the year he has. So we'll see. You have Donovan Peoples-Jones. Is he going to want to re-sign with the Browns? And the reason I say that, the Browns might not be willing to pay him what he wants. He might think he's worth over $10 million a year, and if the Browns aren't willing to pay that, you got to start looking at options. Jonathan Mingo would be a guy that could fit that mold. I really like what he can do, and again, got to watch. Got to watch for the Browns. I would look for him more on day 3 than I would day 2. Parker Washington's a guy I would look for on day 2, maybe early day 3 if he gets there. And then Cedric Tillman's someone I would look at on day 2 of the draft. My fourth guy I'm going to hit on is Nebraska wide receiver Trey Palmer, the LSU transfer. Someone that doesn't grade out super well according to the PFF model. He is 6 foot, 192 pounds. 4.3 speed. Don't have an exact age on him. I do believe he is 22, close to 23. 83.6 overall grade this year was good, but before that, 59.3, 59.7. But 9 touchdowns, 14.7 yards per reception, over 1,000 yards, 71 receptions, played out wide, 108 snaps, played in the slot, 226 snaps. Versatility the Browns look for, 83.6 receiving grade. The drop rate, a concern at 12.3%. The contested catch rate, concern at 30.4%. But 64.1 against man coverage. He's got the versatility. If the Browns are looking for someone that's versatile on day 3 of the draft, Trey Palmer would be a good player to look at for him. You have to wonder how much PFF grades really go into the Browns process. They do value analytics. We know that. But again, is Trey Palmer someone that they want to rely on? The drop percentage is a little concerning, but if you get to day 3 of the draft, you're just looking for someone that you can mold at that position. So Trey Palmer for me is a guy in day 3 that does intrigue me, especially given the speed. If the Browns are looking to replace, like Marquise Goodwin's only on a 1-year contract, if they're looking to move off of him at the end of 2023, Trey Palmer might be able to step in without missing a beat and be that speed guy for the Browns. And finally, the guy I'm going to mention, and I'm going to mention him because 1, he intrigues me, but 2, the Browns have met with this wide receiver very recently. So that's another reason I want to bring him up. That is Houston wide receiver Tank Dell. And Tank Dell is a really older prospect that the Browns would consider. Now, Tank Dell is listed on PFF's board as a second-round prospect. 83.5 grade this past year, 88.3 the year before. Been over 1,300 yards both years. Keep in mind, Houston does play in an air raid type offense. 17 touchdowns this year, nearly 1,400 yards receiving, 108 receptions, slot snaps, 388, wide snaps, 190. The catch with Tank Dell, he's very much elite at every metric PFF has. 84.4 receiving grade, 2.54 yards per route run, which is elite. Drop percentage, 7.7%. Average contested catch rate, 53.8%, which is very solid. According to their model, and then grade versus man coverage, an 89.6. I don't know where he fits for the Browns. Again, if you're looking at that possibility of a guy replacing Marquise Goodwin, this would be your guy. Do they believe he can step in and be a wide receiver 3 for him if Donovan Peoples-Jones moves on, or Amari Cooper, whatever the situation is? Do they believe he's that type of guy? He is older, like I said. I mean, he is going to be 24 when this season starts. That would be one of the oldest players Andrew Berry's ever drafted. So, like I said, I think the Browns might be bending those guardrails. When you bring in a guy like this for a top 30 visit, 1, you're interested, and 2, that tells you the guardrails aren't going to be set in stone like they were in years past. because this is a guy in years past the Browns would not have had interest in. I like Tank Dell. I know some others are skeptical of him, especially given his size and weight. I mean, he's 5'8", 165 pounds, 4.4 speed. He had a 1.49 10-yard split, which is third fastest in the class. It also just shows how much he's able to win at the line of scrimmage. So Tank Dell is the final name I would mention. Again, the caveat is he is over the age guardrail. Some of these guys are over the age guardrail, but would the Browns take him on day 2? That's the question, because he is projected as a third round pick. If he gets to the fourth, I think that's where the Browns snag him. I really do. If he's there, I don't know if they go for him in the third round. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with this. But again, guys, appreciate you tuning in to this Network 216 exclusive on Browns wide receiver draft prospects. I want to know your thoughts and who are guys you want to see the Browns target in the draft. I know a lot of people are skeptical they're even going to draft someone. I'm still convinced they are. But I want to know what your thoughts are. So please put it in the comment section. Who are some wide receivers you'd like to see the Browns look at in the draft? Maybe why. So let me know why. Again, be sure to follow me on Twitter at T_Johnson_TJ. That way, content that I post on there. But I want to be able to interact with you guys on Twitter. So I can't do that unless you give me a follow. Be sure to follow Network 216 at Network 216 on Twitter, so we can read all your comments. You can interact with us and enjoy all the content we provide for you guys daily. Be sure to drop a like on this video, help our YouTube algorithm grow. Subscribe to Network 216 if you are new to the channel. Can't wait to talk to you all again soon. And go Browns, baby.